name's Irene Mace. I'm a retired mental health nurse. I've been a carer for a long time, for years, for my mum. And these events are for carers. They're run by carers and former carers, for carers and former carers. So the idea is that when we have this meeting once a month, carers can come here, and former carers, and just be themselves, just relax, chat to their friends. If they've got problems, they can talk to somebody, they can seek somebody out. We've got a speaker coming in this afternoon who's going to talk to people about stroke and a carer's perspective, and the kind of things to look out for and how to help the person who's got stroke, and how to make life easier for the carer as well. This morning we've had quite a chilled out morning. People have just been coming and having coffee and chatting. We've had some people from York Healing Clinic who've come and given massage, having a 15-minute shoulder massage or a head massage or a hand massage. And this is free. This is something the Healing Clinic are doing for us. They've managed to get some funding, and so they're doing this for an hour every time we have a meeting, which the carers are really looking forward to every time. If they've missed it when they arrived, they're very disappointed. I think it's very hard for a carer to take time out for themselves. What they tend to do is be very, very busy caring. If they get a little break in their caring role, they tend to collapse with maybe a cup of tea, or have a quick nap, or maybe zonk out in front of TV or whatever. But this is actually getting people out of their caring situation. It's bringing them to talk with other people who understand where they are, where they're coming from, because they've all been carers if they're not still carers themselves. And so I think the value of it is that you've got a safe space to be who you are, to say what you want or not say anything if you don't want to, and just to chill out, really. The situations are so varied. Everybody comes with a different perspective. I mean, from a personal point of view, I look after my mum. She lives on her own, but she couldn't do that on her own. She needs that support and help. And she's got 4 different physical conditions, plus she's got some memory problems as well. So, I mean, that's just me. Everybody that comes into these meetings, if they're caring for somebody, will have a completely different role to the next person. The common factor is that everybody's a carer, or they've been a carer, so they know how exhausting it is, really.
I'm Kate Smith. I work for York Carers Forum as a volunteer. I'm the secretary. The quilt came about at a meeting where carers were just sat around talking between themselves about having something that they could have that related to the cared for person. We've had an amazing response. I've got lots of the little 6-inch squares to be going on with. And at the Minster, we're very excited that it's going to go into one of the side chapels next to the side, the Five Sisters window. And it's staying in there for the week after the service. So we're really excited about that.
I'm Maggie. I'm married to Alan, and we have 3 boys. 2 of my boys, if you like labels, are on the autistic spectrum. What we found with Andrew was we were in the process of trying to buy the house next door through the shared ownership scheme that there is for people with disabilities. It just didn't work out, but what he really needed was his own space. So that he could invite his friends in, he's very territorial about his bedroom, so they couldn't all repair to his bedroom, so we gave over the conservatory to them. But having lots of young men leaping around, playing on the Wii and what have you, and doing whatever 21-year-olds want to do, right, sort of a pane of glass between you, was just a bit too much. It was quite oppressive, and they couldn't really let loose as much as they wanted to, and I couldn't hear my programmes, which made me really horrible to live with. So we thought long and hard about giving up our respite care portion of the budget. Your budget is made up of various things, and one of them is a respite care budget and what to do during the day, etc. It's made up of various different kinds of monies. And we had to think long and hard about this because respite care really is a lifesaver. But we thought it would benefit Andrew so much more if he could invite his friends and just be free down the bottom of the garden. And so we kicked out the fairies, knocked down the apple tree, and 3 very nice young men built me a summer house at the bottom of the garden. About once every couple of weeks, all his friends pile around to his house, and they go down the bottom of the garden and they drink me out of house and home and eat all the food that we possibly have and have just an absolutely fabulous time. The Wii was a really good investment because for the first time, Andrew spoke to a stranger. He was so desperate for a game, and I was busy, that he said to the bloke who'd come to fix my washer, "You're going to have a game with me." And I mean, the bloke didn't take too much persuading, but so I came in to find the bloke that was supposed to be fixing my washer playing tennis with my son, but you know, having a great time. And that was the first time Andrew had approached somebody. So there's been so many changes within himself, and of course, disability or caring is something that affects a whole family. So when that changes for somebody, then there's this knock-on effect to the whole family. And as I say, at first we felt guilty, but that soon stopped, and we feel pretty good about it now. But yeah, he's having a really good, ordinary, real life. And his life is so much more like a normal 20-year-old's life.
Well, I'm Stuart Brown. I've been full-time carer for Julie. We've had agencies helping for quite a while, but then we decided that we got fed up with any Tom, Dick and Harriet coming through the door. We wanted to go better and better in charge, so we went for direct payments. And now we're finding pitfalls in the direct payment system. You have a nice carer, the same person comes every day, then they give a notice in, it could be up to 8 weeks before you advertised, interviewed and got a new one started, and there's no backup system for that. So that causes a lot of headaches. The other main problem is when you advertise it through the independent living scheme, they have a website at the Wet Job Centre, and last 3 new carers we've only had 1 applicant, so there hasn't been a lot of choice. And then we've got to train them up and do what we can.
So what happens when you don't have somebody?
Then it's me. We're working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Well, one time we was without a carer and I had sciatica. So we phoned the council up and said, "Can I have an emergency cover?" And they said, "Well, you're on a direct payment scheme, so it's nothing to do with us." But they did eventually get us some helping while I was in. It was draining. It has to be draining because you become a nervous wreck. The stress and strain all the time when you haven't got any help. I mean, Julie is as good as gold, likes your help and stays in bed longer. But it's not a good life for her. It's not doing her MS any good, staying extra long in bed. But that's the way you have to work it. You've still got options, although you're on the direct payment system. You can, if you like, still go to an agency, and the council will up the money they gave you to cover the agency up to a limit. If you wanted to pack up all together, and you can, and then they would obviously close the bank account down and take all the money back. But you've still got some options what you can do. I still have to go to the council, to the social services, if I want more hours or if I wanted less hours, and they can they would just change the payments to suit.
Well, I'm Anne Fox and live in Fulford, and we've lived there for many, many years. He's about 12 years older than me and gave us a shock in 1995 by getting Wegener's granulomatosis, which is being allergic to all your own tissues, which made a lot of his systems go down. And we managed to get him well enough for about 7 or 8 years to enjoy life, but since then he's gradually been going downhill, and he likes me to go out and go off and do things as much as possible while I can. So I'm still taking advantage of that and going out for days walking and doing this swimming group and things like that, and I think it makes something for us to talk about as well, rather than just be sitting there watching him suffer, really. So it's very good for people. They don't do much swimming, but lots of exercises in water just help keep people's bodies movable, and it takes the weight of your muscle off your muscles, so that you're able to do the exercises and keep flexible for a lot longer. So I'm a helper, and there's two or three other people help as well, so that's great. So it's very satisfying. Does me good as well. I love going out walking. And those are U3A groups as well. been going with the 10-mile walking groups, and I was thinking, a friend and I were thinking we were getting to the end of that, we perhaps wouldn't be able to manage it much longer, so we started another group and we called it Over the Hill, which I think is quite a good name really. We still do go over the hill, but we're a bit over the hill, that's 7 or 8 miles. So we're the leaders of that group, and people help, but we have some lovely days out. It's great. And it does me a world of good to, I mean, I love my husband to bits, but it's good to get away from each other a bit, and then we've got something to talk about later in the day and sort things out.
Well, my name's Susie, and I'm in my 50s, and I've been caring for my mother for quite a few years now. It's been quite complicated because while all this has been going on, I've got a teenage son, so all through his secondary school years this has been going on in the background. I've got a partner who is a self-employed craftsman, so he's quite often got business stresses or work stresses, and I have a job myself. So it's been quite a difficult period in my life, and I have to say it's presented quite a few challenges, and particularly sometimes with keeping working. And although I've had quite a understanding boss in terms of allowing me to be flexible and understanding sometimes where if I've had a phone call at work saying your mother's gone to hospital, she's had another stroke, you know, I've been able to drop things and just go. What I've also did was basically reduce my working hours, and that had financial implications because obviously my pay went down, my pension is affected. That's been something I've had to sort of I accept now, but there was a period when, for example, I felt this is happening to me, it's not happening to my other brothers and sisters, they can just carry on with their lives and careers and what have you. It affected me at work in terms of promotion and opportunities at work that I felt unable to sort of pick up. Supportive friends, I think, are very, very important. My partner's been very stalwart support for me through all this. Even before all this started, I always was into things like yoga and meditation, but that's become a much deeper and more important part of my life. So I practice yoga daily now, have my own daily routine, meditate daily. And the other thing that is huge in my life is music and dancing, and so and I find that very, very therapeutic. And again, I'm doing a lot more of that currently. So I've even written songs and which help me to express how I feel about what's gone on. I found the local carers organisations very helpful as well in terms of advice and support, and other people who've been through the same things. And currently I take my mum to something called the Harmony Cafe, which is run by the Alzheimer's Society, and again she finds that very therapeutic. She doesn't have the pressure, as in some things I've taken her to, where she feels she has to talk to people all the time. She can just sit and enjoy the music or enjoy the singing, and that's and you can see it lifting her mood and responding to the music or the singing. And she always, whenever we on the way home, she always says how lovely that's been, and how you can see how much she's enjoyed it and got some benefit out of that activity. And although it's taken quite a long time to find an activity we can do together that we both enjoy, has been it's a real treat now.
I'm Bernadette James and I'm a carer support worker. I work for the local authority and I do carers assessments. So any carer who looks after someone informally can have a carers assessment. I'll go out. The assessment looks at the background to the caring situation. It looks at everything the carer does for the person who they're caring for. And then the most important thing, we then look at most aspects of the carer's life, so the physical well-being, emotional well-being. I think the positive thing for me is that carers often feel isolated and feel that nobody understands them. And when I go to see them, it gives them the opportunity to say how they're feeling, whether it's good or whether it's bad. Know that they won't be judged, know that I won't be shocked, but also know that I may have suggestions to find solutions to some of the issues they face, and because there are other groups that they can turn to or I may know of contacts, whether it's counselling, whether it's social groups or whatever. So the positive thing for me is that I can empathise and also look for positive outcomes for the carers, because often carers feel there's no light at the end of the tunnel.
My name is Liz and I work for Age Concern York, and I manage a small scheme that provides respite for carers. The way we work is that we have a number of volunteers, and so when somebody comes to us and says that they would like somebody to stay with their mother, father or husband, wife, then we will visit them, see exactly what it is that they want, and then we'll match them up with a volunteer. So sometimes it's just for a couple of hours a week, allows them to perhaps go shopping, go out for lunch with a friend, go to the hairdressers, whatever they want to do, it's entirely up to them. But sometimes we can arrange a longer break, so we might be able to arrange for a volunteer to actually stay in the home with the person that they care for. And last year we had a lady who went to Edinburgh for her granddaughter's wedding. She didn't think she was going to be able to go, she didn't know who was going to look after her husband, and she was so delighted when we introduced her to one of our volunteers. When you're leaving the person that you care for, you're worried about what they're going to be doing, you're worried about how safe they're going to be. And I think they have confidence because once we've arranged for a volunteer to go, it's the same person that will go each time. So that means then that they know, they build up a rapport with the person that's going to be there, and they know that the person is in safe hands and that they're going to be happy and enjoy their time while they're out doing whatever it is they want to do. So I think people want that peace of mind. They want to have the security that the person they care for and their loved one is being well looked after while they're away, and we can give them that.
My name is Michael Shepherd, and I cared for my wife, Shirley, and she had a little known illness called PSP, or progressive supranuclear palsy. I coped very well, and that's also prepared me for now when Shirley isn't there at all. I coped very well with family, lots of church family. This is an important thing. All the churches I know and involved with, there's a family in every one. I've all that crowd looking after me. I've got a dog. Now from that dog you get more love and care and fellowship than you get from anybody else. So anybody in this situation, they need a cat or a dog. Because if you don't have that, you sit in a chair and you watch the telly and you just deteriorate actually. But with a dog especially, you've got to get out there and walk. So you need a family, you need church family, you need a loving pet to help you to get through. So somehow you get through. How do you do it, they say. I say, well, you just roll your sleeves up and get on with it. So for the rest of my time on this earth, I shall be raising awareness, having fundraising functions, coffee mornings, choirs. See, I used to be a salesman. Well, I'm still a salesman, aren't I? But now I'm flogging PSP, you see, and it's quite exciting. It's it's well worth doing. I've got to do it. Well, not in memory of Shirley, but I've got to do it because we're going to do it. Yeah, got to do it.
Mum died in February. I've not really, even though we're now in May, had time to sit down and really think about that I'll never see her again. That's the hard bit. And I still sort of say now and again, oh, I must, and then you stop yourself because you realise, no, you don't have to. There isn't a must. It's gone. The hard bit, I think, for carers is trying to cope with all the things that go on after somebody's died. Department of Works and Pensions, for 7 years they can contact you, contact a family member, a carer, to say that they found a payment that they've paid too much on and can they please have it back? And then it's up to the carer's responsibility to pay that money back, no matter what, even if all money's been divided between the family. So that's where I am at the moment. I'm having great problems around issues about the way my mum's care was put together and what she should have paid and what she should have received. So, yes, it's hard. It's a struggle and it's more stress than what you need on top of grieving. Yeah. At some point when it's settled, I will sit down and acknowledge that I won't see my mum again, and then I will start to grieve. York Carers Forum in this time of losing my mum has been such a great support to me. The first meeting that I came to after mum had died, you feel very apprehensive, and I'm sure most carers do in case they get overwhelmed, you know. But the support was fantastic because it was from some people who'd already been there. They'd done it and they knew where I was coming from, they knew what I was feeling. So within the forum, that's been really good, the support that I've received from everybody else, because normally, as one of the leads on the committee, it's me that's doing it. This time it was me receiving, and it's been a wonderful experience, although a sad experience, but it's nice to know you are not on your own. You're not trying to face things on your own to come to terms with things. You can talk to people about it and they understand, so it's been really good.
Very busy time of year because we've got Carers Week. It's a national event, UK Carers Week. The Carers Forum is organising a whole day event in the Monk Bar Hotel where carers can go and join in with all sorts of activities and singing and be performed to, and it should be a really good chill out day.
I'm Jennifer Farnhill. I've been doing the raffle most of the day and also welcoming people at the door. So I'm a gopher today. I became involved in the forum because I knew Katie and Irene and had a bit of a moan about how difficult it was caring for my mother at a distance. She lives in Dewsbury, which is 40 miles away. So it's 45 minutes drive to get there. I go over once a week. She is 96 next month. She lives in residential home. It's a warden-assisted home. And she manages quite well. She never gets out, never leaves the flat. So I have to do her shopping. I look after all her finances because she can't do that. She has a cleaner, and the rest, everything else, I look after for her from a distance. I only retired 2 months ago. So for the last 6 years, I've been caring for my mother since my father died, and I've been working as well, and that was extremely stressful. I could only go over at the weekend, and that sort of pressurised the weekend too. I also have 8 grandchildren and 4 sons who are all married, living in all different parts of the country. So there are times when I really did feel that I was being stretched at both ends, and that was difficult. And my sister would normally have been caring for my mother, but she's full-time carer for her husband. So now it all falls on me, and there have been times when you think, well, it can't get any worse, to be honest. You know, there can't be any more that you have to be able to do. But since I retired, I must admit it's been so much easier. And I can now go over on a regular basis and deal with everything that needs to be dealt with without arriving there, getting her lunch, sitting on the settee and falling asleep, which wasn't terribly helpful if it was company she wanted, but it was really that bad. I think it's quite difficult to see things logically when you're under a lot of stress, and having to make decisions for her was really quite difficult. And I used to feel frustrated with myself because I didn't feel that I could do it properly, whereas it is much easier now. But that is hard for anyone who's working, I think, and caring for someone, whether it's at home or whether it's at a distance. It's very hard when you're having to juggle both things.
Once you've had someone that's had a problem, well then you want to...
My name's June Nelsie and I am the manager of the Muck Bar Hotel. I met Kate and Irene about 3 years ago. They are very dynamic ladies, and at that time I used to care for my husband and for my mum, and as well as running the hotel. And we were talking, and after 18 months or so, when they were setting up the forum, they said, would I be a patron of the forum? Because I had actually done the job, and because I might understand what being an unpaid carer was about. That's the whole point about the unpaid carers. It isn't a job, it's something you do out of love. So, but I had never ever put that tag on myself. You just get on with it, and you. What I found about the Carers Forum since I've become involved is just how they have made information accessible. When I was doing it, I never knew who to turn to. I didn't know what people were allowed. I didn't know how to get support. And I think that that's so true of so many carers, that when you're in the middle of the wood, you can't see the trees. And it was exactly like that. And I think that Irene and Kate have managed to take away a lot of the myth of caring and you know, actually give you the information you need when you need it, make it accessible. Because actually, when you are looking for help, you just want help to be there, you don't want to have to search for it. Being a carer was a long-term strategy. It wasn't something that was for the short-term. And the extraordinary thing is that you always, death was never part of that caring. No. So when it came, it was like, wow, that's not fair, that wasn't in the rule book. So I would have gone on doing it for as long as I could have done. I think it's a great day today. I know that it's the second event like this they've done. What has been lovely is the number of people that have come through the doors. I think they've had great support from around York in terms of just showing different aspects of caring that are available to help carers. And I think it's wonderful to have seen people just having time to talk to other unpaid carers. On behalf of the Carers Forum, who a year ago, I believe, met the White Knights, Sharon was it? Karen kindly volunteered to do their website, and in exchange they have promised you a donation towards your tremendous service that you give. So on behalf of the Carers Forum, can I present the White Knights with a cheque for £150, and congratulations on all you do to care.
Thank you very much.
Oh yay! Oh yay! Oh yay! York Carers Week in the Guildhall today from 10:30 until 4 o'clock. Oh yay! Oh yay!
Today is the second event of Carers Week. We're having a big event involving lots of other organisations. They can all come in and advertise what it is that they do for carers. So we have quite a cross-section of things: mental health, physical health, emotional health, and we've even got guide dogs in here today. So this event is really just a chance for everybody to network, and we've got a cafe in the corner so you can get a cuppa and sit down and have a nice piece of cake. Some of our volunteers and our members have made some fantastic cakes for us, so very good day.
My name's June Tranmer, and I'm the founder and director of the Healing Clinic, which was started 18 years ago in Fulford, and now we've just moved to the city centre. Well, I'm also a therapist as well as the manager and everything else, and so I do acupressure massages and a bit of kinesiology, and I try and organise our little team to come to the Carers Forum once a month to do our work, because we know we really appreciate, as a carer myself, and several of us are also carers. Many of us are performing that role, without thinking, like many of the people in the Carers Forum, and we want to give something back because they don't often think about themselves. We're getting just the little short treatments out to people, just give people a little bit of care and support in a minimal sort of way, not trying to change their health or anything, but it can have lasting effects, and I think some people are finding that. When we go to the monthly meetings, the same people want to come back again and have more. And so if you have something like that once a month, you can really make a difference in somebody's health and well-being, and then they can be better carers as well. They can be more patient, they can be less tired, and so they can carry on really doing what they wanted to do, which is great for me, because I actually feel I need that support too, because I go out to Canada to look after my parents as often as I can, because they're in their 80s now, and my dad is working himself into the ground, rushing around after my mom. I want to buy a nice ramp for him because he lifts the wheelchair into the back of the car. He's 82 and he shouldn't be doing it. He's going, I can do it, and I'm going, yeah, I know you can, but you don't need to. You could there's an easier way to do things. But I think that really exemplifies what carers do. They kind of pull out all the stops and they go, I can do it, until such point where they just go fluff and they find they can't do it anymore. So it's like, my motivation is to make sure we all keep well so that we can do better caring and keep going longer and not need that, every carer is going to have to end up with a carer themselves.
My name is Lewis Drew and I live in Acomb, York. I am caring for my wife. She had a stroke in 2002, and that's when we suddenly realised that she had needed care, and she's had more strokes since then, and now she's at a stage where she is confined most to the wheelchair outside of the house. I find the caring, I don't mind it, but it does become tiring. It's in a sense that you lose your own space. So what happens very often is that she will go to bed at probably quite early because she's tired. Between about 10 o'clock she may watch TV till about 11. And then I have my space after that. I could be working on the computer. I could be working on just reading. I read quite a bit. I only work 4 days a week. I'm hoping to drop that to 3 in the very near future, because if she wants to go anywhere, then I have to sort of get her ready and take her out. We have, to be honest, some very good friends who will come in and help her to get dressed and will take her to places, but I don't think that's fair on them. So I am trying to drop my Saturday morning so that I'm available for weekend visits and weekend outings. In fact, I've held up my employees as an example to the council, because the social service part of the council were very interested to hear that I was getting that support. Last year when we had the Carers Awards and things like that. Elizabeth keeps telling me I should put her into a respite. I can't do that. I'm sorry, I couldn't do that. No, we love each other too much for that.
We have to try very hard, and sometimes it can be enormously difficult because of the pressures upon us. We do have, besides looking out for each other, besides caring for each other, we have to look out for ourselves and try as hard as we can to make sure that our own needs for support, for rest, for refreshment, to recharge our batteries, that those opportunities are there. I realise though that for many of you it is easier said than done. Nevertheless, here in this service, may we reflect on our own need to be cared for. Why? Because on our own terms, we are of immense value to God and hopefully to other people. As we look to God, who is the source of all light and love, our batteries will be recharged, and the light of his love and the strength of his presence will never be absent from our lives. The light of Christ's love shines to bring warmth, to bring light, and to bring hope to our world, to those we love and care for, and to ourselves as well. And we now dedicate this lovely, colourful quilt, which has been created by various members for your Carers Forum. Various symbols, various names, symbols and names representing carers, those being cared for. Very lovely quilt indeed. We ask you to bless, sanctify, and hallow this quilt, as it may be an expression of our love, our devotion, and our service to carry here in this, our community and city, through Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen.
I think it's been a very moving service and it's been very meaningful to a lot of people.
I think it just lets people know what's going on, that carers and their people they care for are hidden, really.
They can sit and think about the cared for person, whether they're still caring or the cared for person has departed.
Just for the help they get, not so much financially or physically, but mentally, meeting similar people with similar problems.
I think just the opportunity to do something like this and all be together, it makes a big difference, I think.
It's very important that we keep that going in momentum every year.